Ladies and gentlemen, come gather round, come gather round, come gather around. Today, we're going to be looking at this beauty right here, my sandblasting cabinet. Picked this up at Princess Auto for $189 17 years ago. I kept it in the school because the air compressor I had at the time wasn't enough to run this. And then eventually, I got a compressor when I built this shop that can feed this, and then I discovered this isn't really as good as I thought it would be, but I've made changes, and it's a lot better. Okay, when I designed this shop, excuse the clutter, I specifically made the cupboards end right about here by the door, so I had a place that would fit the sandblasting cabinet and keep it out of the way, because I don't use it a lot, and when I do, so do the neighbors. No, that's not right. This cabinet can be awesome. It's not awesome when you buy it and put it together, but with a few little things that you can do, you can make this awesome. There's a freaking plethora of websites documenting how to mess with this or the Harbor Freight equivalent. There's a cornucopia of YouTube videos of people showing what to do. This is my kick at the can. Here's what I did based on the stuff that I found in other places. So let's wheel this out. Oh, it's on wheels, which is freaking brilliant. You should put everything in your shop on wheels. I think this was some kind of furniture dolly or just a cart or something I found. It's not even bolted down. It's just sitting on there. You'll notice a bit of dust around here. When I assembled this, I neglected to caulk all of the seams when I put it together. I don't really want to put it back together or take it apart again, so I haven't yet. So some dust is going to come out all the cracks and seams. It'll be okay. I may recommend caulking that. The first modification I did to it to make this easier to change, because you got to try and do a screw over here. Thank you. You're trying to reach these screws with one arm with a nut on the inside with the other arm. This is a bit of an issue. So drill out the holes and put in some Nutserts. Nutserts look like these. They're like pop rivet threads. And then you don't need to have two hands to change the glass in here. Notice I'm using a flashlight. It's because the light in here sucks. You could buy this optional fluorescent tube, which I haven't even removed yet because it's such a piece of crap. It made it from not lit to dimly lit. And then I've since changed to these 100-watt light bulbs. Putting in lights was the second modification I made, and it is fantastic. You can see the electrical boxes on the top here with conduit. And then I have the little light fixture things that are weather resistant. My theory is to keep sand out of it. Got an extension cord. Plug the extension cord into the wall. Flick the switch, and then get your sunglasses on, because this thing is freaking bright. So now you got this great, wonderful working area inside that's nice and well lit. This is a wonderful place to work. These are full spectrum lights, but I neglected to get those for here. So at some point, I'll buy some full spectrums as well. The third improvement I did was dealing with dust. And this little shield was there from the factory, and I guess you'd hook up a vacuum to it or something, or fresh air came out of here. I don't know, I don't remember. And at the far side, I put in a shield made out of an old washing machine where there was a hole up at the top. And I guess you'd have a vacuum so fresh air comes in and goes out. I'm not sure which one is intended to be the inlet or the outlet, but I shielded that side, much like this shield is done, and then devised a way to hook up my shop vac to try and control the dust inside this sandblasting cabinet. So if you just hook up a shop vac to the sandblasting cabinet, it's going to suck out everything. And it's also going to pollute the filter inside your shop vac, and that gets annoying. So there's a better way. I have this kind of device here. It originally started as a hookah pot of goodness, where I just had a 20-liter pail, and I had this tube go all the way down to the bottom into water, and I'd have the shop vac suck through the hole in the lid, and my idea was that the water would catch the abrasive. What happened is the shop vac would suck up the water and the abrasive, and then it's an even bigger mess inside the shop vac. Probably going to put a link up here on how to make this wonderful goodness here. This is 2 pails, and it works really well. In fact, After running this for a while, when I run out of abrasive in the cabinet, I just dump this back in, and it works pretty good. So it's 2 buckets. This one's had the top edge cut off, which makes it just ever so smaller, so it fits inside here. I've got a tube that happens to fit a fitting on the sandblasting cabinet, and I got this flange, I don't remember where I got it from, that fits the hose from the vacuum. Inside, it's just got a 90 and a 45 coming out of the tube, so this stuff swirls around and around and around while the vacuum comes out of here. And as it swirls around and around and around and around, it ends up down in the bottom and collects, and it works fantastic. And it was cheap. So I just plug this in the hole in the back, plug the shop vac into here, run the shop vac, and it sucks all the dust and everything out, which works pretty good. I think the 4th modification I did was put a little bracket on the side here to hold a water separator. And I just have a little pigtail on this, and this is actually kind of handy because I'll leave this right here and run compressed air to it, and then I can run this outside if I'm painting or something, and then I don't have to use it to the cabinet, on the cabinet, but when I am blasting, I just plug it into here, and then compressed air goes in, and it's running. I do have a tin can underneath it because this thing leaks just a little bit, and then I can dump out the water. It's just got a little hose clamp, giving it enough stick to hold that in place and not drip all over the floor, which makes a mess. The 4th improvement I made was the siphoning action. This thing would run, it would kind of like blast and stop and blast and stop and blast and stop, and it was annoying. And it would often plug up because inside it has a tube that goes all the way down to the bottom of the sand, and it's trying to pull all that sand all the way up into the gun. It just flat out sucks. So a whack of folks have suggested this. I just put a pipe flange in the bottom here, 1-inch pipe nipple, a T, a plug so I can drain the abrasive, and then a couple reducers to get down to, heavens, I have no idea what size that is, maybe 3/4 inch. Link to my website down below where I document what I did here. Reducers and a nipple to get it to a T. We got a ball valve here, and you just find with the right kind of location, this is about half open. What this does is allows the air to easily siphon the sand, and it also sucks in a little bit of air to help that sand go up through the hose. Then a bunch of reducers to, this is just really flexible 1/2-inch compressed air line. You don't need a clamp on there because it's suction, it's being sucked on, so that's okay. I've got them both coming into the cabinet like this. I also changed the fittings from M, which is super common, to V, which is high flow. It flows almost double the amount of air, and air and volume is going to be your friend on this. The 5th improvement I did was to the gun itself. This came with like a pistol kind of gun with a lever. A picture looks like this. And it's marginal, and changing the gun changed this whole cabinet from meh to holy crap, this works awesome. So this part is probably the single most important change that I made, followed closely by the siphoning thing down below, followed closely by the lights. I'm not sure what order. You really should do all of them. So this, I hacksawed the end of the handle and the trigger off, threaded this, plugged it, and I drilled a new hole in the bottom for this, a little bit of a nipple to make sure these things clear, and then this is just a 1/4-inch ball valve going to 3/8 air hose. Again, very flexible PVC, so this is maneuverable. The original hose that comes with it is that clear braided plastic, and it's garbage, it doesn't move. So with a ball valve, you just got to flick this thing down, air goes through, and you can hold this in your hand and do what you need to do. It's a lot more maneuverable, fits a lot better, and it works pretty decent. So tip sizes for the gun, I've got 3 different sizes here. This one tends to use more air than your compressor can put out, or at least mine. This one seems to be working pretty good. However, as I get to a finer and finer abrasive, I'm going to try getting down to this tip. But even with the abrasive I'm running, this is a little bit too small. So I'm finding the most success with this. There you go. Don't have to be super tight. Nothing's going anywhere. And then I'm just going to put these in the screen in a place I can reach. So if I need to change tips, or I want to try a different tip, I can. So that's been dandy. So with a few simple upgrades, you can change this cabinet from to, oh my gosh, it's awesome. All it is, Nutserts, so you can replace this without throwing a small baby inside. Second one, lights, so you can see the small baby inside. Third one, change the siphoning stuff down at the bottom with a couple pipe T's so that and a ball valve so it siphons the abrasive easier. Fourth one, water separator so that you can get rid of all the moisture because compressed air produces moisture. And the fifth one, change that gun inside and make it flow. Ball valve, I'm telling you, rockin' ball valve. And then you too can have a blast. Thanks for watching. I got some blasting to do. See ya.